There comes a time in every life when a separation or loss feels like a wound too deep for words. We replay the moments, we second-guess the choices. We wonder what more we could have done. But the path of the everlasting Stoic is not one of clinging. It is a path of internal command, of silent triumph, of making your soul so complete that any loss becomes a mere shift in the winds of fortune. Today, we will walk through 10 rules that, when lived, not only bring healing, but ignite something far greater. They make those who once took your presence for granted stop and regret. Regret not because you manipulated, not because you begged for their attention, but because you became something unshakable, an echo of strength they will hear long after they thought they had moved on. Every principle you are about to hear is a discipline. Each one demands of you a greater version of yourself. This is not about revenge. This is not about playing games. It is about embodying the kind of silent excellence that turns absence into power, that makes your loss a void they cannot fill. Before we begin, remember this: mastery over your emotions is the beginning of mastery over life. If you find wisdom here, if you are ready to rise above old patterns and carve a life that radiates dignity and strength, then honor that commitment. Subscribe to the Everlasting Stoic. Like this video to affirm that you are ready to leave the past in the past and become a force so complete it demands recognition without a single word. Now, let us begin. 1. Withdraw your attention entirely. Attention is the currency of human interaction. It is the unseen force that breathes life into relationships, into memories, into longing itself. When you remove your attention, truly and fully, it is not a petty act of revenge. It is the return of your most sacred resource back into your own hands. Most people withdraw halfway. They still peek. They still check. They still leave small doors open in case the past might walk through them once again. But partial withdrawal is no withdrawal at all. It is an unspoken confession that you are still tethered to what you claim you have released. True withdrawal is an art. It is not loud. It is not cold or cruel. It is silent. It is dignified. It is invisible. You do not post cryptic messages. You do not chase, nor do you retreat in bitterness. You simply stop feeding energy into the connection. You become a closed chapter, not a burning bridge, but a completed story. This discipline demands an iron will. Your mind will invent excuses to check, to ask mutual friends, to leave small signals in the digital fog. Resist all of it. Attention, once removed, must be absolute, because it is only in the vastness of your absence that the truth of your presence is understood. You must understand that in the beginning they will not notice. They will be absorbed in their new distractions, their new validations. That is not your concern. The power of withdrawal is not in the immediate reaction. It is in the long-term silence that grows heavier over time. As days become weeks and weeks become months, a realization begins to take root. The reliable warmth of your attention is gone. The conversations, the affirmations, the tiny validations they took for granted vanished. You will be tempted to re-engage when this moment comes, to validate the growing sense of absence you have created. But the Stoic does not move backwards. The Stoic does not hand back what has been reclaimed. You must let the silence grow until it becomes deafening, until it occupies a space no distraction can truly erase. There is a cruel kind of wisdom in knowing that your greatest act of power is not dramatic. It is silent. It is invisible. It is complete. Now I want you to pause for a moment and reflect. Have you ever truly, fully withdrawn your attention from someone who no longer deserved it? If you have, share your story in the comments. If not, then I invite you to declare in the comments, "Today, I reclaim my attention for myself." Let this be the first stone in the foundation of your renewal. Let us move forward. 2. Keep evolving relentlessly. There is no greater retribution against indifference than self-evolution. No act makes the absence of your presence more profound than your relentless ascent into higher forms of yourself. The common mistake after loss is to stagnate, to ruminate, to become frozen in a portrait of who you were during the relationship. But the Stoic understands that stillness is death. That growth is not merely an option, it is the moral duty of a living soul. You must evolve so thoroughly, so mercilessly, that the person you become could no longer even recognize the version of yourself who once grieved. That is the standard, not improvement for the sake of appearances, not gym sessions fueled by bitterness, not hollow victories crafted to impress. Your evolution must be internal, foundational, inexorable. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, 1 year from now. What if the difference were so stark, so undeniable, that even those who once knew you intimately would no longer know how to approach you? What if your presence, once familiar, became a mystery, a force they could not predict or comprehend? To evolve relentlessly is to become a force of nature. It means investing in every realm of your being: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It means cultivating your mind until your conversations carry a depth that few can match. It means strengthening your body until your movements are expressions of silent power. It means mastering your emotions until nothing external can dictate your internal state. This is a war waged quietly, day after day. It is in the books you read, the disciplines you forge, the weaknesses you expose to the light and overcome. It is in the silent hours when no one is watching, when the old self whispers temptations of comfort, and you answer with fire. And here is the beautiful irony. As you evolve, you will no longer care if they regret losing you. Their regret will be irrelevant. It will not fuel you. You will have outgrown the need for external validation entirely. You will have built a life so full, so rich, so aligned with your highest values, that anyone not meant to walk with you will simply be left behind, naturally, inevitably. Their regret, should it ever come, will be theirs alone to bear. Now, let us anchor this lesson deeply. In the comments, I invite you to share one area of your life you commit to evolving. Starting today, whether it be your discipline, your mindset, your health, or your art, write it. Declare it. Let your evolution begin, not with a whisper of intent, but with a thunderous statement of will. Let us continue. 3. Stop idolizing anyone. One of the most subtle poisons to the soul is idolization. It is a betrayal of your own sovereignty, a silent surrendering of your self-worth onto the altar of another human being. When we idolize someone, we distort reality. We inflate their virtues, erase their flaws, and weave fantasies that have little to do with who they truly are, and everything to do with what we crave in them. This is the most dangerous form of emotional blindness because it comes disguised as devotion, as passion, as loyalty. Yet beneath it all lies a fundamental truth. To idolize another is to deny your own completeness. It is to place them above you, to make their approval the sun by which you measure your own worth. Understand this clearly. No one, no lover, no friend, no mentor deserves a pedestal so high that it dwarfs your own sense of self. We are all flawed, all learning, all passing through the corridors of existence with imperfect hands and incomplete hearts. To see another as superior, untouchable, godlike, is not only a lie, it is a curse you inflict upon yourself. The Stoics taught that we must see reality plainly without the fog of hope or fear. People are neither angels nor demons. They are humans, prone to error, prone to weakness, capable of greatness, yes, but greatness that must be admired with clear eyes, not with self-erasure. When you idolize someone, you set yourself up for inevitable disappointment. The moment they falter, and they will, the illusion shatters. And when illusions shatter, they often leave bitterness where once there was awe. Not because they betrayed you, but because you betrayed yourself by believing they were anything other than human. Moreover, idolization makes you predictable. It makes you easy to control. When someone knows you have exalted them beyond reason, they wield unconscious power over you. They know that you will excuse their missteps, overlook their indifference, tolerate disrespect because your image of them is more precious than your self-respect. The antidote to idolization is self-reverence. It is to see your own worth not as dependent on anyone else's recognition, but as intrinsic, immutable, and absolute. When you carry yourself with this quiet dignity, admiration can exist without obsession. Love can exist without loss of self. This is the shift that transforms your relationships. You stop clinging. You stop over-investing. You engage fully, but you remain centered. If they stay, you rejoice. If they leave, you remain whole. A person who refuses to idolize is rare and magnetically powerful. You become a presence that commands respect without ever asking for it. You become a soul whose attention feels precious because it is not given recklessly. Reflect deeply now. Have you ever lost yourself by placing someone too high in your heart? Have you ever given your peace away because you believed someone else was the source of your life? If this resonates with you, I invite you to write a powerful affirmation in the comments. I stand as my own foundation. I see others clearly, but I exalt no one above my peace. Let us keep building your strength. 4. Become elusive. In a world drunk on overexposure, where every thought, emotion, and fleeting desire is broadcast for attention, the one who holds their mystery becomes priceless. Elusiveness is not about playing games. It is about mastery over presence. It is about creating a sense of sacred scarcity around your existence. Understand, human beings instinctively undervalue what is always available. It is the law of familiarity. That which is common loses its luster. That which is rare, truly rare, becomes an object of fascination. To become elusive is not to vanish into obscurity. It is to weave yourself into the rhythm of life in such a way that your presence feels intentional, chosen, and never excessive. It means cultivating the art of silence, the dignity of refusal, the patience to let your absence speak louder than your words ever could. The path to elusiveness begins with self-sufficiency. When you no longer need to constantly connect, update, or validate yourself through the eyes of others, you gain the power to move without explanation, to appear and disappear on your own terms. Your energy becomes sovereign, your attention becomes selective. People notice this immediately, though often, unconsciously, they sense that you are not another commodity vying for their attention. You are not another echo in the endless noise. You are a frequency. They must tune themselves to hear. True elusiveness requires discipline. It demands that you resist the impulse to overshare, to over-explain, to always be available. It is built through the small choices. Delaying a reply, leaving a story half told, declining invitations without guilt. It is built through the cultivation of a life so rich, so internally satisfying, that your external connections are a choice, never a need. The elusive person does not boast. They do not flaunt. They do not draw attention through spectacle. They draw attention through absence, through a silent assertion that they do not exist to entertain or placate. In romantic relationships, elusiveness creates gravity. It keeps the spark alive because you are never fully conquered, never fully predictable. In friendships, it garners respect because your time is seen as valuable. In all human dynamics, it fosters curiosity, a force far more powerful than mere affection. But be warned, elusiveness must be balanced with authenticity. If it becomes manipulation, it loses its magic. Your silences must be genuine. Your refusals must come from a place of fullness, not from a place of strategy. Only then does your mystery retain its nobility. At the philosophical core, to become elusive is to understand the sacredness of your own life. It is to live in such a way that your presence feels like a gift, precious, because it is given sparingly, not out of fear but out of reverence for your own journey. I challenge you now to reflect. Are you too available, too exposed, too easily accessed? If so, I invite you to declare your commitment in the comments. I will guard my presence and honor its value. The more you live by this, the more your absence will echo louder than your presence ever did before. Let us move deeper. 5. Enjoy life without attachment. There is a subtle but profound difference between experiencing life and being enslaved by it. Most people live tethered, not just to possessions but to emotions, to people, to outcomes they believe they must have in order to be whole. They build their identity not around who they are, but around what they cling to. And in doing so, they set themselves up for endless suffering. To enjoy life without attachment is one of the highest forms of freedom. It is the art of tasting every sweetness without needing to possess it. It is walking through gardens of beauty without plucking the flowers for fear they might wither. It is loving deeply, but knowing that love is not a chain and that the worth of your soul is not diminished if love chooses to walk away. The Stoics were clear on this point. External things are indifferent. Health, wealth, reputation, even companionship. These are preferred, yes, but they are not necessary for virtue, and therefore not necessary for happiness. What matters is your inner state, your judgment, your character, your resilience in the face of fortune's shifting tides. To live without attachment does not mean to live without passion. Quite the opposite. It means to plunge yourself fully into each experience, friendship, romance, work, creativity, while holding nothing in a clenched fist. It is to say, I will love you deeply, and yet, if fate decides our paths diverge, I will grieve, but I will not collapse. I will remember, but I will not be defined by your departure. This freedom transforms the way you move through the world. No longer frantic, no longer desperate. You stop clinging to fading embers because you understand that all things are transitory. People will change, circumstances will shift, seasons will turn, and in the end, everything external will be swept away by the winds of time. It is this awareness that allows you to live fully, without fear. You do not hold back out of terror of loss. You embrace every moment, knowing it is precious, precisely because it cannot be possessed. Consider the ancient metaphor of life as a festival. You are a guest at the feast, not its master. You may enjoy the music, the food, the company, but you do not command the band nor cling to the dancers as they leave the stage. When your time comes, you depart the festival with gratitude. not with rage or sorrow. The one who enjoys without attachment is a magnetic presence. They are not needy. They are not manipulative. Their love feels pure because it is freely given, not extracted through need. Their friendships are deeper because they expect nothing in return but goodwill. Their passions are brighter because they are expressions of the soul, not attempts to fill an internal void. And paradoxically, this lack of attachment often draws people closer. Humans are drawn to those who are full within themselves, who do not seek to devour or possess, but to share their abundance. Reflect deeply now. Where in your life are you clinging too tightly? What fears whisper that you cannot be whole without someone, something, some specific outcome? In the comments, I invite you to liberate yourself. Share one attachment you are ready to loosen your grip upon. One dependency you are willing to outgrow. Write, I am whole, with or without. Let this be your silent oath to live freely. And remember, it is only when you release the desperate need to hold that your hands are free to receive. Let us continue our ascent. 6. Build your circle of strength. Feel a man or woman cannot walk the path of greatness alone. Solitude is necessary for inner growth, but so too is the cultivation of a circle, a brotherhood, a fellowship, a cohort of those whose presence sharpens your mind, strengthens your resolve, and elevates your spirit. Too many people move through life surrounded by mediocrity, and worse, by those who secretly hope they will fail. They keep company with the resentful, the complacent, the petty. They mistake proximity for loyalty and confuse history with trust. The Stoics taught that the quality of your associations determines the quality of your soul's journey. Seneca himself warned that you become like those with whom you spend your time. Energy is contagious. Thought patterns are contagious. Even the silent assumptions we carry about life are absorbed from those around us. To build your circle of strength is not a casual endeavor. It is an act of ruthless discernment. It demands that you assess without sentimentality who nourishes your ascent and who quietly sabotages it. It demands that you choose companions not based on convenience, but on alignment of character, of discipline, of value. Your circle must be composed of those who understand struggle, who honor resilience, who speak the language of ambition without envy. People who do not flinch at adversity, who do not mock growth, who do not resent excellence. People who do not pull you back into smallness when you dare to reach higher. You do not need a large circle. In fact, the smaller, the better. True strength requires depth, not breadth. One loyal, disciplined companion is worth 100 shallow acquaintances. And if for a season you must walk alone until such souls are found, then so be it. Better to walk the desert alone than to drink from poisoned wells. Seek those who challenge you, not with cruelty, but with truth, who will not flatter your ego, but will mirror your blind spots with compassion. Seek those whose very presence inspires higher thought, whose ambitions do not threaten you, but ignite you, whose victories you can celebrate as your own, because you know that in their triumph your collective power grows. And remember, to attract such souls, you must first become such a soul. You must embody the very qualities you seek: discipline, loyalty, humility, strength. The circle of strength is built first within your own character, and only then mirrored in those you draw toward you. There will be tests. Some companions will prove false. Some will show themselves small when adversity strikes. Let them go without bitterness. Every betrayal is a refining fire. It purifies the circle. It reveals who truly belongs, and who was only standing close enough to be warmed by your flame. In building your circle of strength, you are not just creating allies, you are creating a living embodiment of your highest standards, a citadel against the storms of fortune, a brotherhood or sisterhood that makes the journey less lonely, the victories more glorious, the defeats more bearable. Pause and ask yourself now, who in your life fuels your fire? Who waters your roots? And who drains you, distracts you, diminishes you? In the comments, I invite you to honor your future. Write down the qualities you demand in your circle of strength. Whether loyalty, resilience, wisdom, ambition, define them clearly. Declare, I choose my circle with wisdom and with courage. The stronger your circle, the higher you will rise. Let us proceed. 7. Show value in the smallest acts. Greatness is not built through grand displays. Influence is not secured through theatrical gestures. True, lasting power flows quietly through the small, often unnoticed acts that compound silently over time. In a world obsessed with spectacle, the Stoic understands character is revealed, proven and respected in the smallest of actions. Every interaction, every choice, every detail is a thread in the tapestry of who you are becoming. It is not only what you do when the world is watching that matters. It is what you do when no one is looking. When there is no applause, when there is no reward, that is where your value is forged. Most will overlook the power of the small. They will wait for the big moment to prove themselves. They will envision dramatic gestures, sweeping victories, grand announcements of success. But meanwhile, their daily life is a slow erosion of self-respect. Corners cut, promises broken, disciplines abandoned when they are inconvenient. The Stoic understands a deeper truth. Small acts are not small. They are everything. Holding the door open with genuine grace. Returning something borrowed without needing to be asked. Keeping a promise made in passing. Answering cruelty with a steady calm rather than an impulsive lash. Waking up at the hour you said you would, even when no one would know if you failed. These are the building blocks of a life of strength. Each act, seemingly insignificant on its own, adds to the silent architecture of your soul. And over time, the weight of these small acts becomes undeniable. It creates a presence, an aura, a gravitas that no title or achievement can fake. When you show value in the smallest acts, you become the rarest of individuals. Someone whose reliability is not seasonal, not conditional, but intrinsic. Trust is no longer something you negotiate for. It becomes something you embody. Respect is no longer something you demand. It becomes something you naturally command. In relationships, it is the small acts that make your absence felt most acutely when you are gone. The quiet ways you listened without judgment. The way you remembered details others forgot. The way you stood firm without needing to dominate. The way you offered stability when others brought chaos. When you live with this awareness, you realize you are always training someone how to remember you. Not by what you declare, but by what you consistently do. Your legacy is shaped not by a few shining moments, but by a lifetime of small fidelities to your highest self. To walk this path demands vigilance. You must root out the arrogance that says this small thing does not matter. You must resist the apathy that whispers, no one will know. You must remind yourself daily that greatness is made invisible first, and only later does it become visible to others. Take a hard look at your daily life. Where have you allowed small acts of laziness, of selfishness, of carelessness to seep in? Where have you allowed yourself to live as if the little things do not matter? If this strikes a chord in you, then I invite you to anchor a new standard. In the comments, share one small but powerful habit you will strengthen starting today. Whether it is keeping your word more precisely, listening more intently, acting with greater kindness, name it, right. In the smallest acts, I reveal my greatest strength. Let us walk forward together, brick by brick, act by act, building a life no storm can shake. 8. Self-growth is the best statement. There is no need to announce your transformation. There is no need to parade your progress before those who once doubted you, neglected you, betrayed you. True growth is self-evident. It moves with a quiet thunder that reshapes the landscape without need of proclamation. You must understand, the greatest statement you can make to those who underestimated you is not anger. It is not confrontation. It is not even cutting words sharpened by resentment. The greatest statement is the unstoppable momentum of your self-evolution. People expect you to collapse after loss. They expect you to shrink, to become a shadow of yourself, to live in the ruins of what was. When you do the opposite, when you rise, not in defiance, but in quiet fulfillment of your deeper destiny, you create a dissonance they cannot ignore. You are no longer who they knew. You are no longer available to be placed into the old narrative they once controlled. You have outgrown their expectations, and that transformation will speak louder, sting deeper, and last longer than any confrontation ever could. Self-growth, when done right, is silent, unrelenting, and undeniable. It shows itself in the glow of your health, the sharpness of your mind, the peace in your eyes, the decisiveness in your actions. It shows in the way you enter a room, not with arrogance, but with the steady gravity of someone who needs no validation. And here lies the paradox. The more you grow, the less you will even care if they notice. At first, you may fantasize about the day they see what they lost. That is natural, but over time, as your soul deepens, as your joy becomes independent of the past, you will find yourself indifferent. Their recognition or their regret will become irrelevant to the richness of your life. Your growth will not be for them. It will be for you. And this is where true freedom begins. When you no longer seek to be seen by the past, but only to become the fullest expression of your future self. There will be days when the old life calls to you. Nostalgia, loneliness, temptation to prove something. Resist it. Stay the course. Build yourself so thoroughly that you barely recognize the person you once were when you loved with desperation instead of discernment. Self-growth is not linear. It will be marked by setbacks, relapses, moments of weakness. That is not failure. That is the sharpening of steel through fire. Embrace the process. Love the struggle. Know that every ounce of effort you invest now multiplies silently beneath the surface. Imagine yourself 2 years from today. Stronger, wiser, calmer, more capable. How would that version of you advise you now? What small action would they urge you to take today, even if no one applauds it? That is your compass. Do not chase validation. Chase mastery. Chase freedom. Chase peace. Let your life become a testament so profound that it needs no defense. Pause now and reflect. What would your life look like if you committed to relentless, silent growth for the next year, without distraction, without needing recognition? In the comments, Make your future self a promise. Write, "My growth is my statement. My life is my legacy." We are not finished yet. The mountain still rises before us. Let us climb further. 9. Choose gratitude over grudges. Grudges are the heaviest shackles a man can place upon his own soul. They pretend to be armor, protection against further harm, but in truth they are chains. Chains that keep you tethered not only to the one who hurt you, but to the moment of hurt itself. The Stoic does not pretend that injustice does not exist. We do not deny betrayal, or loss, or cruelty. We acknowledge it with clear eyes. But what separates the wise from the wounded is this: the wise do not allow offense to become their identity. Grudges are seductive because they feel like power. If I stay angry, I stay strong, we tell ourselves. But this is an illusion. Anger, left untransmuted, calcifies into bitterness, and bitterness is a silent poison. It corrodes the soul from within, robbing us of the very joy, freedom, and peace we claim to be fighting for. You must understand, to carry a grudge is to let the one who hurt you continue to shape your spirit, long after their hands have gone. It is to hand them rent-free space inside your mind, to let them mold your future with the clay of your past. Gratitude is the weapon that shatters these chains. It is not naive optimism. It is not forced positivity. It is the radical discipline of choosing to focus on what was gained rather than what was lost. Even the deepest wounds leave behind gifts if you have the courage to see them. Wisdom, resilience, clarity, a higher standard for the life you now demand. You may have lost trust in one person, but gained discernment in the process. You may have lost a relationship, but found the solitude necessary for self-mastery. You may have been betrayed, but awoken to the necessity of stronger boundaries. Gratitude transforms betrayal into revelation. It turns sorrow into strength. It rewrites the story of your life from one of victimhood into one of triumph. And here is the deeper truth. Gratitude is an act of supreme defiance. When you refuse to let bitterness root inside you, you become ungovernable. You take back the narrative. You become a soul so forged by adversity that even loss becomes a stepping stone. This is not easy. It requires daily vigilance. It requires the discipline to reframe, to refocus, to resist the tempting gravity of grievance. But each time you choose gratitude over grudges, you unburden yourself. You walk lighter. You rise higher. Reflect now. What grudges have you carried like silent weights across your shoulders? Whose memory still stings like salt on a wound? Are you willing to transmute that bitterness into wisdom? If so, declare it in the comments. I choose gratitude. I turn wounds into wisdom. Let your healing be the loudest answer to injustice. Let your life renewed and undefeated be the revenge you never needed to seek. The summit draws near. Let us climb further. 10. Walk away with peace. There is an art to walking away that few ever master. Most leave in anger, in bitterness, in desperate bids to be seen, to be missed. They slam doors, they throw accusations, they drag the corpse of what once was across the earth long after it has died. The Stoic way is different. The Stoic walks away with peace. To walk away with peace is to declare silently, I have nothing more to prove, nothing more to demand, nothing more to extract. It is to acknowledge that the season has ended, and to honor the ending with the same dignity with which you once honored the beginning. This does not mean the departure is painless. Grief is inevitable, But peace is a choice within grief, a choice to preserve your soul's integrity, even as the world shifts beneath your feet. When you walk away with peace, you are not closing the door with hatred. You are not building walls around your heart. You are simply choosing to face forward, rather than backward. You are choosing your future over your fixation on what could have been. There is a silent strength in not needing to be right, in not needing to win the final argument, in not needing them to acknowledge your worth. You know your worth. You carry it with you, like an invisible crown, a dignity that no rejection or betrayal can strip away. And here is the most profound truth. The one who walks away with peace always wins. Always. Because they are no longer trapped in cycles of retribution, regret, or rumination. They are free. And freedom, once tasted, is a treasure beyond all others. You must ask yourself, what would it look like to walk away without dramatics, without final messages, without performative exits, to simply withdraw your spirit, reclaim your energy, and move forward into your destiny with silent grace? Imagine yourself walking through a burning city, but untouched, because your soul carries its own unquenchable light. When you master the art of walking away with peace, your past loses its power over you, and paradoxically, your absence becomes heavier than any words you could have shouted. Pause now and ask yourself, is there a chapter I need to close, not with anger, but with dignity? Is there a goodbye I need to make, not with fire, but with calm? If you are ready to claim this power, declare it below. I walk away with peace. I choose freedom over resentment. And as you walk, know this: you are not walking away from your worth. You are walking back toward it. Let us conclude. Conclusion. And so we arrive at the end of this journey. A journey not merely of words but of awakenings. You now hold within your hands the 10 rules that do not just inspire regret in those who lost you. They forge you into a soul so complete, so luminous, that regret becomes inevitable, but irrelevant. Withdraw your attention entirely. Keep evolving relentlessly. Stop idolizing anyone. Become elusive. Enjoy life without attachment. Build your circle of strength. Show value in the smallest acts. Let your growth be your greatest statement. Choose gratitude over grudges. Walk away with peace. These are not just strategies. They are disciplines. They are blueprints for becoming the kind of person who needs no validation, no revenge, no applause. The kind of person who rises and rises, silently, surely, without ever needing permission. If you have found value in these words, I ask you now, honor your journey. Subscribe to the Everlasting Stoic. Like this video to affirm your commitment to your growth, to your resilience, to your own everlasting spirit, and share below which of these 10 rules resonated with you the most. Which will you embody starting today? Your reflection may just be the spark that ignites another soul's transformation. Remember always, your power is not in what you have lost. Your power is in who you choose to become. Stand tall. Walk forward. Stay everlasting.